Please give a warm welcome to co-writer, director Shih-Ching Tsou. Welcome, Shih-Ching. So honored to have you here.
Thank you.
I was so impressed with your take on the night market. It's such a pivotal part of the film, how immersed we are, and the point of view of the little girl. The camera is low angle. We're like surrounded by the. Tell us about the importance of including visually the night market.
Well, I think it's so, like night market is not just the backdrop, it's one of the characters in the film. So, from the very beginning of the thinking about making this film, I wanted to shoot in the real night market. So that's the reason we want to use iPhone, because I know if you
So
want
it was
to,
shot
yeah.
in an iPhone.
Yeah,
Wow.
so in the real night market, and we didn't shut down anything. We just we want to absorb all that vibe, and I want to capture the real vibe. So I knew we had to hide the camera crew and also the camera. So shooting with iPhone is it's just essential. We had to use that also. Use that iPhone to get close to the character and give the audience that very immersive kind of feeling. So from the very first frame, you see the collapsible image. We want to show the audience through that little girl's eye, the point of view to bring the audience into the story. So that was really essential to shoot with iPhone and shoot in the real night market to kind of express that kind of the realism in a film.
I mean, I've never been to Taiwan, but I know I felt that like you were shooting from a foreigner's point of view, looking at Taiwan. The sense of wonder, where like everything felt new, and it makes sense that it was like a little kid's point of view as well. Is that something that you were aware of?
Yeah, definitely. Because I don't live in Taiwan, but I was born and raised in Taiwan. I left Taiwan after I graduated by college. So when I went back to shoot the film, I actually have so much more appreciation about Taiwan. I also rediscover all the beauties there, because I don't live there. And when I see all the different things, like little dark alley or the very dodgy places, to me, they just so Taiwanese. So I want to show that to the audience, just with my, maybe, I'm not that close to it anymore, so I can stay back and then kind of show it in a different point of view.
Yeah, and you mentioned I wasn't aware that you shot on an iPhone. And my question was about the cramped spaces, that like you're in this tiny little apartment, you're in the tiny little market stalls, and the freedom of having the little camera. Can you tell us about that aspect?
Yeah, definitely. With a little phone, you can get into all these tight spaces. Especially in the first beginning, the three women sitting in that truck.
Yes.
There's no way we can fit another cinematographer in there. So, when we need to get three of them, we just sometimes will tape the phone on the windows, so you can get all the all the view, and
well,
you can
totally
get
makes
three
sense. So
people.
you actually put the camera on the window.
Yes.
And it looked in.
Yeah. So especially like in their apartment as well. It's so tiny, it's so narrow. So with a big camera, you won't be able to shoot everything. So with a little camera, actually give us a lot of more advantage, especially with working with the first-time actor, the older sister. I discovered her on Instagram. So with the first-time actor and also the little girl, with iPhone, it just make everybody
Okay, so like,
easy.
okay, I'm still getting over the fact that you shot everything on iPhone and you taped it to Windows. Backtrack, Instagram? You cast, how did that happen?
Well, I was very adamant to use real people in the film. So when I need to find this older sister, I wanted to street casting, but I don't live in New York. I don't live in Taiwan. I live in New York. So I thought everybody's on Instagram. So why not just go on there and try to find this girl? So I just type in Taiwanese girl or Taiwanese model, and I just like kind of
Yeah, but the
scrolling through.
trust from your end and also from the people on the other end that you're connecting through Instagram to cast,
Yeah.
they didn't think that you were like fishing for creep.
Yeah, well, in the beginning, I think it was like even my husband was like, "What are you doing?" Every night just going through like looking for Taiwanese girl. It's really creepy. So she was like, "What are you doing?" So I told him, "Oh, I'm casting because I can't be in Taiwan, so I just need to do this." So when I first messaged the girl, Shi Yuan, she actually thought I was a scam. So she didn't
I would be too.
So I sent her my IMDb page, and I also told her about my history of making film here. So she opened up, and then she sent me the audition tape. So she was great.
Wow. Going back to the night market, color, sound is so intense, and I'm thinking about your script that deals with secrets and darker things. The contrast, was that intentional, the vibrancy of the night market, and then the nuanced emotional core of the screenplay?
Well, because little kids, I think they have very acute sense of vision and hearing. So I just want to, with that aspect, with the point of view of a little girl, so for her, she must see it so colorful. We don't see it anymore because we see it all the time. Nothing is really fresh or new to us. But for this little girl, she must feel like she's in the heaven. All the color, all the music, all the like bright lights. So I just want to use her kind of vision to show the audience, and I think the audience probably feel the same. If you've never been to Taiwan and you see this film, you must feel the same way as the little girl feels. Like it's like a nighttime playground, and it's so bright and so so.
But then it
so
contrasts with the darker undertones. Tell us about that. The contrast between the darker undertones of the story and the color.
Yeah, I think just for the little girl, for her point of view, like even when she's hearing all the things happening around her, she probably doesn't understand. So for us, we're probably like trying to figure out, oh my God, all the secrets. But for her, she's probably like, oh, I don't really know. And I think I want the audience to feel that too. A lot of time you're like in the dark, you're trying to figure out things. You don't know who that man is lying in the hospital. And I think that's just a little girl probably feel the same way. She's trying to figure it out.
Sense.
So the audience is figuring out things with the little girl.
The soundscape is amazing in your film. Sound is so important. And then actually during the credits, a colleague who hadn't seen the film told me, like, people are talking in the audience. I'm like, no, it's the soundscape of the whole movie. We hear every little sound in the night market, et cetera. Tell us about the importance of the sound.
Yeah, I think that's just, if you've been to night market, that's what it is. The sound is found every store is playing different music. So we want, I definitely want to kind of express that. I want the audience to feel that as well. So you can hear the sounds from every corner. People are talking or kids are laughing, and that's just like a 360 kind of, surrounding sound when you are in a night market.
And did you capture that sound live, or is something that afterwards?
Well, mostly they are live. We have a very good audio person, so we mic everybody, a close laugh, and we also have a big boom in the night market. But most of the sound we capture on location, and of course in the post we also laid in more to kind of enhance that the crowd, the people always around and making all the sound.
And how much you seem to have had such an insight into the night market. How did you get the trust of all the different people and your research into that world and their trust?
Yeah, well, we wrote the script in 2010 with Sean. So we were in Taiwan.
So 20 years ago.
Yeah, like 2010, we went to Taiwan to write a script, and also we went to all the night markets trying to find the perfect one, because there were like 10 to 15 night markets in Taipei alone. So we went in there, every one of them, and trying to find this perfect night market. And when we went to this particular one, you just see on the screen, we actually found a little girl in there, and we saw her. She just looked like Yi-Jing in the film, and we follow her because she was alone running around. So we follow her back to her mother's noodle stand, and that was like, we both of us was amazed. And we're like, oh my God, this is our story in the script, but we actually ran into this little girl in real life, and her mother was running a noodle stand.
And how come it took so long for this to come to fruition? It was 2010, and then
Yeah.
now?
Well, I think it's the beginning, the Asian cinema wasn't really popular in US. So when we tried to get money here, we couldn't find any backer. People would not, people didn't like subtitle films. They didn't like to read subtitles. And I think not until 2019 when Parasite won Oscar. And also Squid Game, really popular. And that kind of opened the audience around the world. They open to Asian cinema, and also open to subtitle films or TV. So that kind of opened the door for us as well. So after Red Rocket 2021, we went to Cannes main competition, and we finally found an investor who's willing to help us.
I mentioned to you this when I first met you, is that I don't recall seeing a film that is so observational about the culture and about the family dynamics onto your film. And you and I commiserated about growing up in families that tradition tends to silence the younger generation, and that dynamic forces us to observe. Can you tell us about, expand on that and your observational skills as a filmmaker that were heightened by your experience?
Yeah, definitely. I think throughout, after 2010, we finished the script, and we couldn't make it right away. And every year I went back to there, and I connect to that little girl in the family and the mother. So I went back there every year. I visit them and then talk to them, and also, observe their life stories. She told me so many stories about the friends in night market and what happened in their life, and she also told me some of the stories that her family or her friend's family, they wouldn't pass down the inheritance to daughters. So that's part of the story. Along the way, I kind of just picking out all the different stories and then putting back to the script.
Tell me about managing your script that you co-wrote with Sean Baker. It's a family story. There is a coming-of-age story as well. And then you manage comedy and tragedy. It's a very complex narrative. Tell us about balancing it all.
Well, I think from the very beginning, we wanted to show everything, as a spectrum of life. We have happy moments, we also have sad moments. So although this is a very sad story about how women struggle in this society, but I think especially people go through the hard life, they have to laugh at all the light moments. They have to be positive to go through the hard life. So I think that's just what we want to show, the real life is like. It's not about sad. It's not all about crying. A lot of times they are laughing too. So that's just the way we want to show everything in life, not just one sad little part.
You introduce us to the devil hand, the fact that she's left-handed and her grandfather tells her that that's the devil's hand. But then I love the complexity of the grandmother's scheme with the immigration, that it's actually because of her devil's hand that she saves grandmother. Tell us about the complexity of that dynamic.
Yeah, I think what inspires for that scam is actually a piece of news we saw when we're in Taiwan. So that piece of news is actually the real news.
The one that we watch is actually the real thing?
Yes, that's the real news. And also the changing name to get free mail, that's also one of the real news in Taiwan. It's just like when I saw it, I feel like, oh my God, this is so ridiculous. But it will only happen in Taiwan. So I wanted to put it into the film. So all those little stories I just kind of collect on the way, and I found
But you put
interesting.
it together in this duality that it's we're led to believe that it's a bad thing, but then it turns out in almost every scene in your film there's a duality happening.
I think that's just real life. That's how I think that's how life is. A lot of coincidence and a lot of like hidden misfortune, but it's actually something happiness in the end. So I think that's just part of life.
I have to ask you about the complexity of the women. You observe this. We watch multi-generational women, cohabitating. Tell us about the importance of that and the impact.
Well, I think that's just part of my life. I like almost all the characters and all the the incident, whatever happened, that inspired by my real life. My mom has 5 sisters and 1 brother, and all the dynamic I see, the sibling compete with each other, trying to get the love of the parents.
Yes.
All that is so real. I kind of put all the real events into the movie, and I think that's why it feels so authentic.
Yeah. Tell me about the banquet sequence, which is extraordinary. How difficult was it to shoot that, the restaurant scene?
But actually, that scene took us 3 days to shoot, and we had to cut into 3 pieces. And the first part is when everybody arrived, before any craziness happened. And the second part is when the couple went upstairs and
Yes.
had that huge fight. And the third part is when the 3 women, get onto the stage.
But was it all pre-planned, the
Well,
script?
we didn't really have rehearsal, but we just kind of, we went in there and we have everything prepared. We have 2 assistant director that day the 3 days, trying to orchestrate everything together. And it was a crazy shoot. We have 4 iPhones that day. Usually we have 1 or 2 iPhones, but that day we had 4 iPhones.
Only 4? There is 200 in here.
Yeah, so we just we took out everything, trying to film everything all together, so we don't have any continuity problem in the end.
But was there improvisation happen, or?
Oh yeah, definitely. Everybody has a script, but I think when they all got onto set, people just kind of improv on their way. It's just so natural. I think everybody have that kind of event going on in their life at least once. Family drama is really real in Taiwan, especially when everybody gets together.
Well, it's family drama happens. We just got over Thanksgiving, and there was a lot of family drama happening. So, when it came to you just mentioned that you did not rehearse, but there is such strong family dynamic between the mother, the grandmother, the mother, the daughters. How were you able to develop their relationship?
Well, I think just naturally, I gave everybody their part to read, and I say, well, if you have any questions, we can discuss, but I intentionally didn't want to rehearse because
But you were working with some of them non-actors. The young people were non-actors.
Yeah, but I really trust my actors, that's why I keep on saying that, I just create this perfect environment. We shot on almost every location. They are all real locations. Nothing was really set. Only the 3 women, their apartment, there's an empty apartment we rented, but everything else was just, it's a real set. It's a real location. So I think just create that real environment when they go in there, they don't feel like they're acting because they are real
But the mother
players.
and the daughter, I mean, and the grandmother, they seem to have so much history. How did you just, it was on the script? I mean,
Yeah.
you're being, okay.
Yeah, I really give them a lot of space. I know like they are all local Taiwanese actors, so I really trust them will bring whatever they have to the set. So I think that spark, when they first come on set and they start like acting together, that's just like very natural. Like you can't really fake that if you like rehearse 10 times,
Yeah.
and then it won't.
So
it
the
will not be real.
tensions that we see is
It's-
all just like first time
Yes.
them encountering each
Yes.
other. You mentioned the actress that you cast on Instagram. What about the Ai-Shing? You pronounce Ai-Shing?
Yijing.
Yijing. How did she come about?
With her, we do like pretend game, and she, her mother helped us a lot. She helped her to remember the line at home because she would, she was 6 at the time, so she couldn't read Chinese yet. So her mom will help her memorize all the line, tell her the story about all the, the parts she need to act. So when she come to set, she was ready. She knows exactly what to say. And we just play pretend game. I say, well, that's your sister, that's your mother, and they are fighting. But you have to keep on doing things you are doing, and then but look like you are listening to them too. So a lot of pretending. And she loves pretending game. Her mom told me. So that was like a perfect approach for her.
But how did you find her?
She actually, initially, I wanted to do street casting for this little girl, and we
Yes.
went through like 3 rounds of social media casting, and I watched 50 to 70 audition tapes. I didn't find her, and she eventually got recommended by an agent in Taiwan, and she was a little commercial star at a time. So when I turn on TV, I can see her like every 3 minutes. You can see her. Because she's so cute, she got cast in all the different commercials. So when I cast her, she was 6, and I think she already had like 2 or 3 years of acting experience on commercial. So she's professional.
And I'm obsessed about an important, pivotal character in your film, the meerkat. How did that come about?
Well, see, that's the only thing that got changed from the original script, because in the original script, it was a monkey, and I had a pet monkey when I was young. So I would, the monkey was in the film to kind of, I just want to remember
But
him.
wait, monkey to meerkat. How?
Yeah, so in Taiwan they have this really strict rule about putting monkey in the film or TV, and you need a professional license and also a professional trainer. So at the time we couldn't make that happen on time.
But wait a second, a meerkat doesn't need a professional trainer.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I guess the rule is very weird in Taiwan. So I found this vet, and he owns a meerkat and a white fox. So he like recommended to me. He said, "Oh, this meerkat is super smart, and it lives in the home with the cats and dogs, and he's the king of the animal kingdom." So he's like, we can train him with a little ball, and we can put his favorite snack in there. He loves a cockroach. So we put a cockroach in the ball, and then you throw the ball.
You cannot make this up.
And he will chase the ball because he loves the cockroach.
And were you happier with the change from monkey to meerkat? It's precious. It's unbelievable. I mean, I'll never forget your film because of the meerkat.
Well, the meerkat is really cute, like especially when he started like looking, those 2 rolling on bed.
Yes.
That was like perfect moment because we didn't know what the meerkat would do. But as soon as he's like stand up and looking over, I asked the cinematographer, "You need to capture this right now." Like he's just like looking, like.
Was there a cockroach in the other end?
No, he was just naturally, like captured by the action on the bed. He was just like looking. It was really cute.
Your ending is so beautiful. I was so emotional watching after the big banquet scene that all hell breaks loose. And then the following day, the women just show up at the market and it's like life goes on. It's such a powerful statement. Can you tell me about how you ended up with that idea?
Well, I think that's just real life, you know, like we always fight with our moms, right? But
Yes.
next day, the mom would never apologize, but she would just prepare a meal and say, oh, okay, come have a nice meal, right? I think that's your real life. So the same thing, you know, even there's a huge blowout in a family, but I think, you know, next day or next 2 days, life had to go on. Everything just go back to normal.
Yeah, that's actually what I find so touching. I think everybody in this room can relate that you're in a family dynamic and you have a big blowout, and then the following day it's like, here, have eggs. You know, it's like, you know, you move on. It is so deeply moving, that scene. Was it always in the script the way it was going to end?
Yes, the script never changed since 2010. All the structure, they are all the same. And the difference is just adding all the Taiwanese elements along the way. Yeah.
Sean won Best Editor this past year, and he edited your film. There is quite an incredible rhythm to the film. Can you tell us about working with him as an editor?
Oh yeah, he is a great editor to work with, you know, and he knows, you know, he really definitely helped us to pace out the rhythm of the film. So when he came in, and you know, we actually sat down together when I came to LA after the shoot, you know, and I subtitled all the dailies so he can understand everything.
Oh, okay. That
So
makes sense.
you know, when we sit down and talk about the film, like how it should be edited, and I completely trust him. So and a lot of times he can actually pick out the best performance without knowing what they are talking about.
But
So
he
great.
could see the performance, but you had subtitled
Yes.
Yeah, wow. Well, we're so lucky to have you here tonight. It's an amazing film, Shih-Ching. Yeah, congrats. And it's Taiwan's official entry to the Oscars for Best International Feature. Yeah, congrats. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Thank you.